what do you understand by arbitrability? Now, see, this issue has been arising for quite some time, whereby one, one has been trying to deal with all these aspects, whereby, whether a particular dispute can be arbitrated upon or it cannot be arbitrated upon, has been has been a cause of worry, or rather has been a bone of contention between quite a few parties. Let me start off by telling you that this particular aspect of arbitrability, you can probably delineate it into two portions. Now, one is that whether the subject matter, okay, whether the subject matter of dispute is capable of being arbitrated, which means that whether the subject matter of the dispute, can it be referred to arbitration or not. That's point number one. Another aspect that you may want to look at is whether the court at the stage of reference has to decide this particular aspect, that whether a particular, now at the time of reference means that, say, if the matter has come before a civil court, and say another party goes to the court and says that, look here, there is an arbitration agreement. Now, once that arbitration agreement is looked at, okay, is it the case that the court has to necessarily look into the nature of the dispute and then decide whether this particular dispute is can even be sent to an arbitrator or not? Is that another aspect that you may want to look at in terms of arbitrability? Now, before we go even further, let me start off by simply showing you what is it that we wish to look at when it comes to arbitrability, and what are these sections that may become relevant for our purposes today. Now, let us look at section 8 for 1 minute, which says that power to refer parties to arbitration where there is an arbitration agreement. Now, I'm sure quite a few of you who are arbitration enthusiasts would have already gone through this. I'm just going to read it nevertheless, just so that we have an idea as to what statute and what particular section under the Arbitration Act is going to be contextual in terms of the topic that we have today with us. Let's look at subsection 1. A judicial authority, before an action is brought in a manner which is the subject of an arbitration agreement, shall, if a party to the arbitration agreement or any person claiming through or under him so applies, not later than the date of submitting his first statement on the substance of the dispute, then, notwithstanding any judgment, decree, or order of the Supreme Court or any court, refer the parties to arbitration unless it finds that prima facie no valid arbitration agreement exists. Now, please see this. Whenever whenever an application under section 8 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act is brought before a judicial authority, you will realize that the word that has been used in the statute, and consciously so, which is the subject matter of an arbitration agreement, shall, which means that there is an obligation on the judicial authority to mandatorily refer the matter to arbitration once all the subsequent conditions are satisfied, which is that if you find that there is an arbitration agreement, if a party to an arbitration agreement is there, or any person claiming through or under him so applies not later than the date of submitting his first statement, which means that, one, there has to be an arbitration agreement between the parties. One of the parties to that arbitration agreement ought to have approached the court under section 8. And the third thing is that such an application under section 8 has to come up before the court before not later than submitting his first statement on the substance of the dispute. So it could very well be a case that, say, if a plaintiff sues, say party A sues party B. Party B, before he or she files her written statement, okay, can straight away move an application under Section 8. Now, please see this. Please see subsection 2 in this. The application referred to in subsection 1 shall not be entertained until unless it is accompanied by the original arbitration agreement or a duly certified copy thereof. Let's come to subsection 3. I'm not reading the part in between. Notwithstanding that an application has been made under subsection 1 and that the issue is pending before the judicial authority, an arbitration may be commenced or continued and an arbitral award made. Now, the question that might that might occur to a lot of you is that what is this Section 8 got to do with arbitrability of fraud? Now let us see. When I told you that this concept of arbitrability is effectively divided into two portions. One is that whether a particular matter is even worth being sent for arbitration. Can it be arbitrated upon? And two, the second portion that I told you right at the beginning was that who decides this, that whether this particular aspect that that a certain dispute can be adjudicated upon by the arbitral tribunal. Who decides it? Whether it is the court or whether it is the arbitral tribunal which decides that that this particular dispute, because ultimately you have to look at it this way, that does the plain reading of Section 8, okay, does a plain reading of Section 8, does it tell you that the court needs to get into the merits? It only says that the judicial authority, before an action is brought in a manner, in a matter which is the subject of an arbitration agreement, shall, if a party to the arbitration agreement or any person claiming through or under him so applies, not later than the date of submitting his first statement on the substance of the dispute, then notwithstanding any judgment, decree or order, refer the parties to arbitration unless it finds that prima facie no valid arbitration agreement exists. So the only thing that the court exercising powers under Section 8 has to look into is that a valid arbitration ought to exist, and that one of the parties to the arbitration agreement has come before it, and the fact that the same has been done not later than not later than the date of submitting the first statement on the substance of the dispute. That's all. These are the only three things that are being looked into, which is why the second part becomes even more important, that who decides whether a particular issue can even be arbitrated upon. Now, this issue has been arising consistently over a period of time. And it is now in the past, say about last 10-12 years, that this issue has started coming up more frequently, right? Because a lot, and all of you realize that arbitration obviously at this point in time arbitration proceedings are being preferred as opposed to regular civil litigation, solely on account of the time-bound manner in which an arbitration can actually be finished. Yes, undoubtedly, there's a possibility that arbitration may end up being slightly more expensive than a civil litigation, no doubt. But it does take care of the fact that arbitration is the way to be.